BlakGooseTV family, salute. It only makes sense, right? You know what I'm saying? We dropping Earl Spence content. So, you know what I'm saying? We got to go ahead and match that up with some Terence Crawford content. But nah, for real, if you want to be 100 with y'all, I thought this particular story was interesting. And it was something that, you know what I'm saying, I wanted to go ahead and touch on and, talk about it with y'all, BlakGooseTV family. So, what am I speaking about? You know what I'm saying? What am I alluding to? You can obviously see the title below. You can obviously see the article up over here. But let me do a quick recap. When it comes to Terence Crawford, we all know that one of the things that he is gearing toward, or at least he is gunning toward, or at least wanting and hoping that can be a possibility, is him fighting the winner of Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano too, right? Since that is the case, or at least that's something that he alluded to and he wants to happen, a lot of people are speculating, okay, if that were to actually come into play, how would he fare against someone like Jermell Charlo, especially with Terence Crawford being the smaller guy, supposedly, right? Well, from Crawford's standpoint, he feels like it's not an easy fight, but it's something that he can definitely do, and something that he can have success in, and it's something that he can have no problems when it comes to that actually pertaining or coming about. We also heard from Jermell Charlo. He responded back to Terence Crawford on that. He had some shit to say. He said, "Yo, Terence Crawford, I'm a knockout artist, baby. I'm a knockout artist, baby. You better focus on your division. Focus on 147. You better earn your respect down there. You better take a pay cut to Earl Spence." You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit was talked. A lot of shit was thrown from Jermell Charlo's side. So we already got a little bit of something brewing, but obviously it doesn't mean anything if Crawford doesn't actually make the step up, and it doesn't mean anything if Charlo isn't able to beat Castano. Regardless, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to this particular fight, we're living in a fantasy world. Disclaimer: we are living in a fantasy world when we're talking about this fight. I know that, but there still is a lot of speculation with the possibility of Terence Crawford and Earl Spence happening. If Spence happens to beat Ugas, Spence has made it known he wants the Terence Crawford fight to happen. And he thinks it's a little easier now that he's not with Top Rank. But even with that being said, we still got to have Spence beat Ugas. Ugas said he would love to fight Crawford, right? But at the same time, there's still one man that's with PBC sitting in the back of the bleachers with the dim light, and no one is even paying attention to him, but he's there. And that's Keith Thurman. And I think Keith Thurman is the one person who can possibly derail a possibility at Crawford becoming undisputed at 147. Why do I think that? I'm not going to go too long-winded into it because that's not what this particular video is about. But the reason why I think Keith Thurman might derail Crawford being undisputed at 147, because we're talking about every credible welterweight right now, or the top welterweight at 147, or at least when it talks about having the opportunity to become an undisputed, is with PBC, right? So if they're with PBC, if Spence loses to Ugas, obviously that's not going to be what they want. It's hard for me to believe they're going to say, okay, let's do Ugas versus Terence Crawford now. I think it would make more sense to have a rematch with Spence, or to bring in Thurman, because if Thurman beats Ugas, now you can keep Spence in play still, right? You can have the three-headed monster, and you can have that belt, the money, all that good stuff circulating within the PBC organization. The only way I can see Crawford kind of taking a step in and muddying all that up is if he does sign with PBC and Al Heyman, which some are speculating to happen, because he did say himself on the Porterway podcast after his win against Sean Porter, the last three fights he wants is Ugas, Thurman, and Spence. And if he can't get them, he wants the winner of Castano versus Charlo. Obviously, those are all PBC fighters. Regardless of that being the case, I'm still under the impression that there's a possibility Crawford might do his own type of promotional thing, similar to a Canelo, where he's doing a co-promotional deal. Now, how much in favor will PBC be of that? That's something we're going to have to find out, which is why I think Keith Thurman is the boogeyman of 147 and might be the one person who can derail Terence Crawford from being undisputed, not from them fighting, but just business-wise, right? Like I said, Spence has to get past Ugas, and if he doesn't, that fucks everything up for Crawford. Now, if he does, I see Crawford having a good chance of getting that fight, but it's going to have to make the most sense to PBC to pick Terence Crawford over Thurman, right? And that has to come down with promotional business, right? How much money can we be generated? Doesn't make sense to take a chance, etc., etc. Okay, went already a little bit too long-winded on that I wanted to, but I'm trying to give you guys the atmosphere and the landscape of the whole entire situation. And if you already know, then I'm sorry, I just exhausted the shit out of your ears. But let's go ahead and get to this particular story in this article. Shakur Stevenson is confident Crawford could handle Jermell Charlo. So why are we talking about this? Because, like I said, if Crawford can't become undisputed at 147, his next move is going to be looking at the winner of Castano versus Jermell Charlo. Now, Crawford has said himself, I would love to, fight that winner. He's never actually pointed anybody out specifically as in, I know I could beat Jermell, or I know I could beat Castano. He just said, hey, if I can't get the 147 undisputed chance, I want to be undisputed at 154. Never specifically called anyone out, never said he's better than Charlo or Castano. He just said what it was. So, with that being the case, right, Jermell Charlo took offense to that, responded, I'm a knockout artist, baby. You better stay at 147. Earn your respect. Why don't you just be the B-side? Take less money. Earn your respect. I'm a knockout artist, baby. You don't want this smoke, etc., etc. Okay? That's all good. We all know Jermell Charlo is going to talk his shit and he's going to say what he has to say. But Shakur Stevenson thinks otherwise. We all know Shakur Stevenson, very, very close to Terence Crawford, probably like a little bro to Crawford. Basically idolizes Crawford to an extent. And I say that with all due respect. Let's see what he has to think about the possibility of Bud and Charlo going at it. Let's go. This is where I'm starting from in case you guys can't see. I think Bud is going to surprise Charlo. He really doesn't think Bud is strong. He's talking about I'm a knockout artist, baby. Being a knockout artist. I definitely don't see that happening with Bud. I feel like Bud is the better overall fighter. We've seen Charlo struggle with Tony. I feel like Bud is levels above Tony Harrison. No disrespect to him. I love Tony Harrison. I'm a big fan of Tony Harrison, but I also agree with you. I do think Bud is levels above Tony Harrison, and he has more power than Tony. Bud will beat him, but he's just talking. It surprises people how strong Bud actually is. I've seen him knock out heavyweights in the gym. He hurts 178 pounders. I'm not going to say no names, but fighters that are out there now, I've seen him put down and hurt them. And I feel like Charlo gets hit with one of them punches, and he's going to have a changed mind. So Stevenson is arguing that Terence Crawford has the knockout power and the strength to not only push Jermell Charlo, but actually touch him and get him a little bit on the back foot and wary of that power. That's a bold statement. I got no doubt that Crawford is knocking out heavyweights. I got no doubt that he's putting down cruiserweights. He's putting down light heavyweights because Crawford is that skilled. At the end of the day, skills pay the bills, as Devin Haney and his pops would say. But damn, I don't know about him versus Jermell. Even though I love Terence Crawford. I'm a bigger fan of Terence than Jermell, but I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. So at the end of the day, it ain't really about what I feel. And it really isn't about what Shakur feels. This is about what y'all feel, BlakGooseTV family. Do you guys think that there is a possibility of Crawford hurting Jermell Charlo and stopping him if they were to fight? Or do you think Shakur Stevenson is just riding for his boy and saying what he thinks would happen, but in all reality is not willing to tell the truth because he doesn't want to disrespect his dog? Let me know what you guys' opinion is. Drop it in the comments below. Like, subscribe, diddly, all that good stuff. I love y'all. I'm out. Keep supporting the channel. As always,